Hey guys, it's APR2K here, and today we're going to be taking a look at 10 computers that I've gotten from recycling in the last school year. So 8 of these came from my university's recycling, and the other 2, the 2 laptops, came from my uncle. So let's go ahead and take a look at each of these computers, take a look at the internals, see if they power on, and ultimately see what's wrong with them, or if I got 10 free awesome computers. I'll give you a hint, it's more of the second one. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the first laptop here. This is a Gateway RV55C. Externally, this laptop appears to be in decent condition. It was my aunt's old school laptop, and inside it also appears to be just fine. Now, I went ahead and upgraded it to 4 GB of RAM because I had an extra 2 gig stick I found in the recycling bin, which gave me a slightly better experience. Now, powering the laptop on, you can see here that it appears to work just fine and doesn't have any issues. I went ahead and actually booted into an operating system, KDE Neon specifically. This would allow me to take a look at the specs of the laptop, and I also discovered that the battery on this laptop is pretty much toast. It only lasts about an hour on a charge, so it's not very useful, but it is easily removable, so if I got a new one I could replace it. Now here you can see it as a Pentium P6100, integrated graphics, and 4 gigs of RAM. Here's a detailed look at the spec sheet if you're curious what some of the other specs are. Next, I got arguably the best computer out of all of them. This is an Acer Aspire V3 772G6602, a very uncommon laptop with a massive 17.3-inch display. I got this laptop for free from my uncle because the graphics card has failed. It's a GT750M, but otherwise the computer has an i5 4200M, 8 GB of DDR3 memory, and sadly only integrated graphics. It also has a 256 gig SSD that I got for $28 on Amazon. It didn't come with a hard drive originally, and these are the specs of the laptop. And now to the first desktop, and it's just a stupid Dell. Dell's like an infectious disease, like it's everywhere. Why do people buy these things? Anyway, this is an Optiplex 745 from about 2007, I think, and it has a decent selection of ports, and the internals are actually kind of interesting. It has the hard drive mounted down there and that weird DVI card thing. I'm not really sure what the point of that was. Also has a CD drive and a weird proprietary heatsink, because that's just what Dell does, is use proprietary components. However, on the upside, the computer does turn on at least, and went into the BIOS here and eventually booted into KDE Neon. And once the computer did power on, we can see it has a Core 2 Duo E6600, 4 gigs of RAM, 160 gig hard drive, and integrated graphics. And now to the next desktop, which is another stupid Dell, but this one's an Optiplex 780, which is 2 years newer than the last one. It's essentially the same computer, except this one has a DisplayPort on the motherboard. The internals at first glance look the exact same. It's got the same stupid proprietary heatsink design, a weird hard drive design with a 320 gig drive, but that graphics card, that's a Radeon HD 3450, a terrible graphics card, but somebody's actually cut it down to fit inside the small form factor case. I had a full-size one. Somebody modified this, and it just looks weird with the HDMI and DVI like that. However, the computer does power on just fine, and I seem to have no issues actually running it off this bizarre graphics card mod. So it appears that it works with the board, it just isn't the right size. Very strange. Anyway, this computer booted into Ubuntu of all things because somebody installed Linux on here for some reason. But in case you're wondering what the specs are, it has a Core 2 Duo E8400, 8 GB of DDR3 memory, as well as a 320 gig hard drive, and of course that Radeon graphics card. Yeah, this thing just took too long to boot. I didn't even bother filming it. I was in a rush to film all these, so yeah. Take it or leave it. And now to the next computer, which is a Dell Optiplex 755, a larger, beefed up version of the 745 from 2008. Now this computer is a little more interesting. I guess. The internals of this are a lot more standardized. However, still there's a lot of proprietary parts in here because stupid Dell. It has the same Radeon graphics card, except this one isn't cut down because it's actually a full-size computer. It's got dual CD drives, dual hard drives, a bunch of RAM in there. Overall, this is just a really well spec'd out computer for what it is. Now, after taking a while to decide which hard drive to boot, it booted the only one that actually has stuff on it, which has Windows 10. And it did boot. It took a little while, of course, because again, Dell experience, but eventually it did boot into Windows 10, where I was able to look at the specs. It has a Core 2 Duo E6750, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 160 gig hard drive. Windows is also not activated, just, ignore that. I don't care. Next, we have a really strange small form factor computer made by a company called Superlogix, who surprisingly still exists, and it has the same graphics card that I added and that weird serial card. And on the front, it is fairly standard looking, I guess. It's a micro ATX case, and it has an Asus motherboard inside, which is actually a pretty nice board, other than it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Other than that, it's a good board. Computer took a little while to boot here because I'm booting it off the 1TB hard drive that came with it. That's from 2013. It's a SeaGate. I was surprised that I got that drive though, because usually at the recycling center when computers have big hard drives, they'll take them out and they won't let me take big hard drives, but they surprisingly didn't catch that on this one. Nor did they catch the 8 gig RAM stick, which they also would have definitely not let me kept if they knew it exists. So I went ahead and upgraded it to 10 gigs of RAM. It is an i5-3470. And I added in the same graphics card. Windows in this is also unactivated, but it didn't actually catch that in time for this video. And finally, we have the 4 last computers I got, which are the HP ProDesk G2 minis. 2015 mini PCs with a really good I/O selection, and that are surprisingly upgradable, allowing you to swap out the RAM and hard drives. Of course, that meant that none of them came with RAM or hard drives, but I went and took one of them that I wanted to use and put 8 gigs of RAM in there and a 256 gig SSD. I'll have to put that stuff in the other ones at some point, but I don't have enough RAM for that. So I went ahead and installed Windows 10 on here, hoping that the board would have an activation license on it, which luckily it did. And this just ended up being a really nice little computer. I actually used this for a couple months as my main computer at college to save on desk space. It is an i3-6100U, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and came with Windows 10 Pro activated on the motherboard, which was an awesome inclusion, and I was very happy about that one, of course. It has integrated graphics, sadly, but what did you really expect? It was a mini PC. And this just ended up being a really awesome little computer. I genuinely enjoyed using it, and I hope I can get the other ones up and running sometime. So this has been it. 10 computers which I got from recycling, and every single one of them worked. I honestly couldn't believe it. This really got me into collecting computers in the first place, and will be an awesome addition to my computer collection. I've gotten a few more since this as well from recycling and other places. So if you guys want to see videos of those, let me know in the comment section down below, as well as let me know your thoughts on this video. If you want to see more like it, please like the video, and subscribe to my channel for more content. With that all being said, I'm APR2K, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace out.